good. Big weekend.
Big weekend games from almost like last weekend, almost as good. Some would argue better.
Yes.
From start to finish, from 12 o'clock till you find the back of your eyelids in your recliner late at Saturday night with 2 or 3 bourbons in your belly. not saying who that may be.
Yeah, I mean, just hypothetically speaking.
Yeah,
this is all,
yeah. Right.
I had a couple old fashions last night. They were pretty good.
Seen that.
My liver said, "Okay, go ahead. You can have you're good for a couple days." So
you've recovered from the
Right.
week where we drank every damn day.
Right. It got like a minimum like happy, buzzy. I did at least.
Yeah, the
Every
middle 3
day.
days. The middle 3
Yes.
days when we were watching the Monster, the Ted Gein story, we
Yeah.
both were feeling A-okay for those three nights we took in that series.
Right. In fact, so much so that I didn't even remember most of the last episode. I thought I remembered more than I did. Went back and watched them. Like I didn't watch any of this movie,
No.
this show. So I
There's
was happy to
some,
go back and watch it.
There's some
There
pictures
was stuff I wouldn't have
circulating
forgotten
too.
either. Yeah, there's some pictures circulating, yes. And there's stuff on that final episode that I would not have forgotten if I had seen it. So that was
Right.
clearly just like out.
Natasha, your sister, is watching Mindhunter now, so you got her on
Oh.
that.
Good. That's arguably better or as good in that same
She
genre.
says it's really damn good.
Yeah. Have you
She
not
says
seen
it's
it?
really good. No, I've seen the
You
first part of the first episode of the first season, and then
Yep.
never really got back on it. But she just tells me it's awesome. She watched Sons of Anarchy and told me to watch it. I didn't get to watch all of it. And then I
I didn't
kept
care
telling
for
her
that.
Game of Thrones was good, and she finally started watching Game of Thrones.
Sure. I think you'd like Mindhunter. You should give that
Probably would.
watch it with her or whatever. Yeah. All right. Well, folks, you didn't sign up to or sign up like you're paid for this show. Right now we're free. Like subscribe, share the show, enjoy the show. We're giving you two shows a week at least, and frankly, they're
Yes, if
pretty
you want to.
long. Yeah, exactly.
Pay
Hey,
us
if you want to. Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah. This is Hell If We Know podcast. That is Chris. I am Brian, allegedly, and we're here to talk college football. We're your favorite college football podcast that you don't even know about yet. And if you could just, settle in with a drink or whatever you're going to do, tell a friend and enjoy this because we're going to maybe make you money. You might go broke too. But so we're going to tell you at the end how we're doing and how you might do if you follow us. And I can tell you one thing. You will not do any worse listening to us than you would, McAfee or all the guys on Game Day or your Big Nude Saturday or any dork on ESPN. They're all the same. So we'll help you out as much as we can. But remember, Vegas always wins. Okay,
That's right.
You may win a buck here and there, but Vegas always wins. And we have a betting thing that Chris came up with. That we'll talk about towards the end of the show. And it's a pretty cool thing to learn about, so stick around. But we're going to kick it off with this weekend's games, which there are several good ones, including one of what someone might call a trap game, mostly because the voodoo of playing on a Friday night, at least Miami's at home, but Miami hosts Louisville, Louisville's a solid team. Miami is off last week, so they're getting back in the swing of things. Now they're 13.5 point favorite. Over under is 50.5. So, so this is interesting. So it's a game that's interesting to watch on a Friday too, at least, right? At least for a while. You're not watching Bowling Green and Miami of Ohio duke it out for the whatever Mayo Bowl. It's awful.
And it's going to be way more
Thing.
fun than that game right below it, that Nebraska-Minnesota game.
Yes, absolutely. Right. You talk about probably some excitement, some explosiveness, that first game, and then Nebraska-Minnesota 17-16 final. And
Yeah, pretty much.
and maybe
That's what
4
you're in for.
safeties or something in there too.
Yep. Raiola running
Yeah.
for his life.
Yes, exactly. And Minnesota with the most underwhelming no-name program in the country, perhaps. even in a Power Four
Right.
conference at that. So yeah, so because about Purdue because they're terrible. About Northwestern because they just upset Penn State. But Minnesota has there's nothing. There's a couple players on there, but they're Minnesota. So not much to say about that. But Miami, what do you think about Miami? Is this a game that if you're a Miami fan, you're worried about, or just a cruise control until next week?
I think Roy level 1 to 10, right?
Yeah,
Roy level 1 to 10 for Miami is probably needs to be about a 4 or 5. If it was last year's defense, it's a 7 or an 8 or a 9
yeah, right.
because Louisville can move the football. They're 4-1. They're good. They're a good team. There's going to be fireworks. But the Miami defense is what gives me faith because you could be off a little bit on offense and you can be not sharp on offense and all that
Yep.
can happen, but you'll still be able to manufacture enough points to be at Louisville because Miami's defense is legit. We've talked about it. Top 3 in the country. You can't make an
Easily.
argument for lower than 3, in
Nope.
my
Nope.
opinion, on the Miami defense. So I love Miami in this game. I kind of the over is what I'm looking at on this 50.5. That says it gets played in the mid 20s. I don't see how that state game stays in the 20s. I think somebody's
Mm-mm.
getting to mid 30s, and then the other
Right.
team's getting in the 20s. So I would take the over, but I also think Miami covers it. I do. I think they in Coral Gables. I think they get it done, and I think they cover, win outright. The over hits. That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Actually, I mean, my only hesitation is that some teams coming off a bye look really sluggish, maybe even early on. And that could really be Miami. Now, who knows? They came out and they played really well. USC had a bye before Michigan came out and played really well. They game planned well. They ran tempo. They did everything right and looked fresh and sharp. Um, so, assuming Miami is coached well enough to be able to do that, then I agree. Also, at the end of the day, I like that defense to help cover that 13.5. And I agree go with the over. Miami's going to hit in the mid 30s, upper 30s. I anticipate Louisville will get a couple scores here and there. So that 50.5 is probably a really nice, smart number, frankly, as they usually are. But I'm going to go with the over hitting and Miami to cover that 13.5. I think Miami wins is something like, I'm going to say 42-13.
Oh
I
wow, they
think this
roll,
will be,
huh?
yeah, I think they roll. Yeah, it may be a little sluggish early on, but I think they roll.
I think this Miami team has really good leadership. I thought the upperclassmen have really taken a hold of this team and said, "This, we're not going to do what we did last year." Because the upperclassmen, the seniors especially, and
Mhm.
and even Beck to a degree because he went out during the SEC championship last year and didn't get to play in the playoff. I just feel like those guys that are upperclassmen that went through last year and missed the playoff are like we are not going to drop the ball on this one.
Right.
We're going to come ready to play, and they have come to play every single
Hmm.
game. Like you can't point to Miami game like, ooh, they didn't look good. They've
Nope.
looked good every single game.
Yep.
There's not been a game they have played that's been sloppy and just
Mm-mm.
they wasn't sharp and emotionally in the game. They have been
Right.
on point all
Right.
year. I don't see why this is any different.
Yeah. Their culture seems to be like w- good, like it should be, right? Like they've had some adversity where they're in tight games for pieces of part of the game, but they've not wavered, and they put Florida State away basically. Like they've done well to put turnovers and turn them into points, that kind of thing. So I think they're well disciplined. They're not, like you said, they're not getting a bunch of untimely penalties, which goes to some senior leadership with Beck at quarterback, and because you got some young talent at Tony and the wide receivers
Sure.
to kind of balance the seniors out a little bit, but then that defense just they eat, man. I don't see how Louisville moves the ball a hell of a lot against them.
They have a lot of seasoned guys on defense, and they have a lot of them on the offensive line.
Yeah,
And those big guys, you're one of those guys come up to you and tell you what's up and how this game's going to go and how you're going to play football at the University of Miami. You listen, because they'll
yeah,
break you in half if you don't. They will
right,
hold you
exactly,
accountable.
right, right.
So I think that leadership is what's leading the team right now. I said I'm like you. I think Miami rolls. I'm going to go a little lower than you because I think Louisville moves it and rings the bell a couple of times. I'm gonna say it's probably 34-20,
34-20.
34-17.
Yeah,
Yeah, something like that, and get it done.
gotcha. Yep, I can see that too. But by the way, the times are listed here on the screen are all Central Time. So if you live the Eastern Time zone, just do the math there. We don't really need to talk too much about Nebraska, Minnesota. I don't think we already kind of touched on that. But the first game at the top of the hour on Saturday is a big one for a couple programs. Who would think you'd say that? LSU, Vanderbilt in Nashville. All right. Well, Vanderbilt's coming off a tough loss to, or sorry, they were off. Was that who they beat last week? Vanderbilt. Or were they off? I'm blanking. Were they?
I think they were
I don't.
off because they
Yeah, they
beat
must have
Bama.
been off.
They had
They
Bama. They
lost to
got beat by
Bama
Bama a
2 weeks
couple
ago.
weeks ago. Yep.
Right. Right. Okay. And then LSU's coming off a win over, I think, believe South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Nevertheless, 11 a.m. kick, and if you watch the post game post weekend wrap up from the other day, you heard us say no spoilers. We're going with Vandy straight up and to cover that spread, and I'm not wavering from that. I think Vanderbilt is less talented than LSU, obviously across the board. If you look at the player rankings, recruiting rankings, whatever, but we've seen that doesn't necessarily matter with this Vandy team, this Vandy program right now under Clark Lee, and as evidenced by beating Alabama last year, for example. And this is a worse LSU team coming in here that struggled to move the ball on offense. I think this is who they are at this point. I really like Vandy to win this. I mean, they were really hoping to take it to Alabama again, and they hung in there. But eventually, that talent Alabama kind of came through, and with better quarterback play than LSU, that's why I think Bama wins that game. But I just don't see LSU moving the ball enough and being explosive enough to outscore Vanderbilt. Now, the 47.5 is a over under Vandy by 2.5. Well, I was like I said, I'm picking Vandy to win. They cover that 2.5. I think Vandy wins by not maybe like a my gut says it's like a 27 to 20 game, so they'll cover that. And that 27 to 20, the hook is not quite there. So I guess I'll have to take the under there, huh?
Yep. I'm taking the under too. And I'm with you on Vanderbilt. I think, and I'm taking the under mainly because the LSU offense does not do anything for me at all. The LSU defense is elite. So Vanderbilt's going to struggle to score too. I just think they make a couple more plays. This could be a field goal. This could be a 20 to 17 game, really easy. And Vanderbilt are 20 to 14 or 21-17 or something like that. I'm taking the under as well. I think Vandy wins outright. I think they make enough plays. And remember on the Bama game, they were in Tuscaloosa when they played that, and that's a one-score game going to the fourth quarter.
Absolutely.
Now, the final score isn't indicative of how close that game was.
No, right.
It was very close. So, and then they just kind of pulled away kind of late, which is, Diego probably has a couple turnovers. He had 2 turnovers in the red zone.
Yeah,
when you score those footballs, that's
a different game.
You're talking about right for sure. So it's give me Vanderbilt. I think they win it. I think it's low scoring, and I think Brian Kelly is officially on the hot seat.
Yes,
after he drops his game.
Right. Yes, I think he and his wife are just perusing the Realtor.com websites for State College, PA, for example, or perhaps just a nice home in the Keys to retire to.
Because he's going to get a fat buyout. So
yes, right. Yeah,
not
you
James
do
Franklin
with
fat,
it,
but fat.
No, right. Yeah. All right, we're both in agreement there, basically. Georgia Tech, I anticipate they'll take care of Duke. They've been struggling to they're winning, but there's been a few hiccups here and there. They are who they are. Like they're going to probably beat up on most teams that they play. Duke could play some defense and make it a little interesting, but I just anticipate Georgia Tech eventually take care of that. Duke's favored by 1.5. I like Georgia Tech to cover that. And boy, the over-under is 61.5. That's a big number.
That's a huge number. But there's going to be a lot of scoring
Maybe
in this game.
About right.
And
yeah.
we talked about trap game with Miami, Louisville. I don't think that's a
Yeah.
trap game. This is a trap game for Georgia Tech. I could see a scenario where they go in there, and that game is pucker factor 10 for Georgia Tech fans in the fourth quarter.
Hmm.
I think they win
Right.
it because I think Haynes King is just a baller,
Yeah.
and they wind up getting it done. But I'm like, yeah, that 61.5. Oof, that's a lot. But this
A
game
lot of
probably gets
money.
to play in
A
the
lot of
30s.
that's what I'm thinking too.
I
Yeah.
could see it get played in the 30s, so I'd go over on it. But I think Georgia Tech wins it outright. I'm like you. I think it's
Yeah.
closer
Uh,
than the experts think, though, as Corso used to say.
Absolutely. Yeah, because Duke's quarterback can be a little turnover prone. I tend to think that Georgia Tech will win this, but it'll be close. I'm going to say 33-31, which puts it at the over, I guess, there. So,
Yep, with you.
all right. And you got Oklahoma traveling to South Carolina as part of their murderers row. I guess you could call this a break. 3-3 South Carolina. In
Right.
Columbia. It's a break, I suppose. So Oklahoma's coming off of a kind of I don't know if a beating is the right word, but you can say that second half at least to Texas, the Red River. Mateer looked pretty pedestrian, turn a ball over. Oklahoma can't run the ball with the running backs, so thankfully, they better hope their defense does travel. But as we saw in that Texas game, defense can only hang in there for so long. If you can only score 6 points, that defense is going to be on the field for too long. And I don't care how good your defensive line or linebackers or your corners and safeties are, they're going to get got at some point. And favored by 5.5. I mean, they just have so many more tough games coming up. They can't afford a loss. Brent Venables can't afford a loss like this.
No.
I'm going to go with the upset here. South Carolina's kind of been overdue for a big win. It's been a couple years or so since they beat your Vols back in 22, 21, 22.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with South Carolina to win this game. I think it might be something where they get some turnovers, get short fields, kick field goals. Maybe they get a punt or a pick six, something like that to win this game. I'm going to go with South Carolina. Let's see, South Carolina 23, Oklahoma 17.
Yep.
So it's going to hit
Delaney,
the under.
we are in sync. Not the
Yeah.
boy band. Not the boy band.
Oh, yes, right. No, we're Backstreet Boys boy band.
Yes, right. That's right. Yeah, I'm with you. I was going to take South Carolina's game. I was hoping you take Oklahoma so we would differ, but we think exactly the same on this. I don't like the OU offense. Their offensive line's not good. The South Carolina defense is really good. Sellers makes just enough plays to win, so I like the under, like you do. If this game was at night, I would love this pick.
Absolutely.
I would pick them with full confidence. Oklahoma can go and win that game, sure. They absolutely can. The defense is really good, and Sellers can, he can't do it all himself, but if they can get Nick Harbor involved, just if they can get in the low 20s, they'll have a great shot. I think they do. I don't trust Oklahoma to get in the 20s because they just can't seem to do it now. So, it sucks it's 11:45 local kick for South Carolina because those cocks can't get liggered up. So
no.
I'll go South Carolina. I'm with you. I'm gonna go South Carolina and the under. Yep.
Yeah, I think they both hit. All right. Next game, which is likely a bloodbath in Madison, Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Ohio State travels to Madison, Wisconsin, take on the 2-4, and arguably the worst or second worst team in the Big Ten. They're just putrid, and it's funny how far they have fallen. Like, they don't do anything well. They have no identity in offense. Talk about Wisconsin, of course. Defensively, while their defense has been pretty good against the run, that's shown to be like a bit of a mirage. And their secondary, you and I could go for 6 catches, 200 yards, and 6 touchdowns. I just don't see how they stay anywhere near that 25.5 even. Of the Death Star, and that the Death Star alone. I mean, Ohio State's not scoring 60 or 70 points a game, but this might be one of those games where they put up, 50 or so. Certainly, I think they get into the 40s. So I think they cover that 41.5 themselves.
Me too.
I don't think Wisconsin scores. I don't think if they get a score, it's going to be a sad field goal somewhere in there, or a late touchdown against a bunch of fifth stringers, walk-ons. Give me Ohio State to cover that. I'm going to say Ohio State 45, Wisconsin 3.
Yeah, I'm with you. Everything you just said, I agree with. I think Sayan has a huge day. They have a huge day running the ball. I Jeremiah Smith does whatever Jeremiah Smith wants to do
Yeah, he
Saturday.
certainly will Saturday. Jeez, yeah.
It's going to be like routes on air up there.
Yeah.
And I'm not, and it's early in the year, so it's not going to be terribly cold.
Nope.
So you don't have that going for you if you're Wisconsin. Try to get it
Right.
cold with balls. It just doesn't.
Yep.
It's kind of a little bit harder.
No, it's going to be in
not,
the 60s probably.
Yeah,
in
it's
fact,
going to be in the 60s.
yeah.
It's going to be it's going to be a bloodbath. I'm with you. I won't spend too much time on it. Ohio State, huge.
Huge. And, this is another game we don't spend too much time on because this will be another huge win. Indiana favored by 27.5, 52.5 the over-under, bringing Michigan State to Bloomington, Indiana. We just saw Indiana with the biggest program win in history going to Eugene, Oregon, and beating up on that very good uh, Ducks team. In fact, so much so that the second half, by the way, we neglected to mention this, but one of the scores for Oregon was a pick six. So that Indiana defense, that score is worse than it is if Indiana takes care of the ball there, and that's an uncharacteristic turnover for them. Oregon had around 70 total yards the second half, a couple turnovers as well. They really got after Dante Moore. This is the worst news possible for your Michigan State. They're coming in like they're reeling, and like there was early in the season that it looked like Aiden Childs was maybe turned the corner and looked a little bit better. Now we think that if you look back at that, wow, that was against a Boston College team that's not a very good football team that took them to 2 overtimes. Childs has turned the ball over. He's thrown for less than 100 yards the last 2 games. Interceptions are still being thrown. He got dinged, but also kind of /benched last weekend. And they're drubbing to UCLA, the hottest team in the country. Maybe next to Indiana. Indiana and UCLA, hottest teams in the country. Prove me wrong. This game will be played first. So Michigan State can't move the ball on the ground or through the air. They can't protect. And that's the worst thing you could do against an Indiana defense that's really, really legit. If you have not watched Indiana defense, folks, I know it's crazy to say for me to say this, but you have to watch. That defensive line is as good as any in the country. And they're very well disciplined. They have great linebacker play. On offense, you've seen them run the score up and down the field. They can kind of do whatever they want. Other than one game against Iowa where they struggled a little bit, but that's going into the Voodoo Dome there in Iowa City as well. This Indiana team will just murder this Michigan State team. I would not be surprised if this game is. I mean, I don't think they're going to get to 70, but I'm going to see Indiana 56 to 13, and it's not even that close.
Yep. Yeah, same. We're still right on point as far as together. How we talked about Miami having leadership and having good culture and on a mission and all that. The worst thing that happened to Michigan State was the Iowa game, because that Iowa game, them playing sloppy and kind of having their heads maybe looking forward to going to Eugene, almost got them in Iowa. So I don't think they repeat that this year. Every team has that once those teams that win national championships. Everyone have one of those close games. They just look lethargic and their head's not in it because they're kids. They know what's up to. They know that team sucks.
Yeah,
this isn't rocket surgery.
They
know
read the
sucks.
clippings. Yeah,
They've
even
seen UCLA
the
go through
Saban
them.
teams, right? Saban teams even had a stinker here and there. They won.
Right.
They ended up winning comfortably, but it was like, what are we very good or not? No.
Right.
These kids are 18 to 22 years old. Their girlfriend's mad at them because they were talking to another girl. They got a test that's due. They haven't studied. All these life things that we just forget about and that they have to deal with.
People think they're robots. People, really do. People really think they're robots. They think that the same team they watch this Saturday is the same one they're going to get next Saturday, is the same one they're going to get 2 Saturdays. And it ain't that way.
No.
And it's mind-boggling people don't know that, because it's not the same team. You're not going to see Indiana be as lethargic and uninterested in this game as you
Mm-mm.
did Iowa, because I'd say Signetti made it perfectly clear, hey, anyone can beat you any given Saturday. You got to show up
Right.
sharp every single Saturday. They'll take it serious at home. They roll. Yeah, it's gonna be this game's over by first quarter,
Yeah.
midway second quarter.
Absolutely.
This game's not in doubt anymore.
Right. This will be like a total yards of 600 to 170 or something like that. It's gonna be ugly.
Yeah, Indiana,
All
I like
right.
that. The over under you talked about. I like Indiana just covering that themselves too. I think they get in the
No,
mid
no
50s.
problem.
Yep.
No problem. Yeah, they call it the dogs. The only reason they don't to
Can they
do
can
that
they do a
because you
running clock in the
sometimes
second half like they do in high school?
yeah. Well, it would something that Michigan State should ask for. Which is, by the way, you haven't really talked about them that much as far as coaching, but Jonathan Smith is seemingly not the right fit there in Michigan State. Like he's too nice of a guy. He doesn't hate Michigan enough. He, people seem to like it. Hell, he's one of the most charming coaches in the Big Ten. I mean, for example,
Yep.
like he's not even dislikable, and that's if Michigan State people are not used to that. They're used to the D'Antonio, Tom Izzo kind of coaches where they're against the world and we're disrespected all the time and this and that. They kind of feed off that. Where you got a coach like Smith, who's obviously a good coach. Um, they're kind of starting to lose their patience with him because he brings in Childs, and then this is Childs' third year. He started a year at Oregon State, and this is the second year at Michigan, or third year at Michigan State. It's just not looking good. They're not doing anything well on either side of the ball. Oregon State just fired their coach, by the way, last weekend, and I missed the news we didn't see because they're sitting there at 0-7. Is Jonathan Smith thinking about going back home to his alma mater, a la Rich Rod? He's just skip
Right.
the old Arizona job and TV studio job and just go right back home. I don't know, but that's something to keep an eye on. There may be another. By the way, we didn't mention it. Luke Fickell may be fired on Sunday after that Wisconsin game, Ohio State game. I mean, they're going to have to pull that trigger at some point. Maybe this is the time they do it. I don't know, but something to look forward to. But do you also have, I don't know that Michigan State's going to be able to fire him after, midway through season 2, but it ain't
No,
looking
that
pretty.
seems really soon.
This not at all. Yeah.
That seems really soon as far as firing someone mid-year season two. Season
Yeah.
two. And we're talking about Fickell. They might fire him on Sunday. Wouldn't surprise me. I mean, he's going to get fired. But the
Yeah.
thing with the thing with Fickell at Wisconsin, if you've not fired him yet, what happened Saturday with Ohio State shouldn't give you any more cause because Ohio
That's
State
true,
was
right?
going to do that anyway.
Yes.
This is year
Yes.
one,
That's a
two,
good point.
5. The way the roster is, they're just too different to expect to win this game. So if you've not fired him before
Right.
Ohio State, I don't know what Ohio State would do to make you fire him on Sunday, besides just firing him
Yeah.
for the sake of it. So
That's a good point. That's a very good point, actually. Yeah. Okay, so moving on to game here late. There's a lot of games this 2:30 window that are at least mildly interesting for a minute, but this is probably the best one. Hypothetically, Texas A&M travels to Arkansas. Texas A&M looks really good all year, sitting at 6-0. Arkansas is a team that just fired Sam Pittman a couple weeks ago, so they're kind of in no man's land. But I'll say about Arkansas, they gave Tennessee a run for their money last weekend. They could put some points on the board. That may have been more so that Tennessee's defense is, struggling obviously a little bit too. But that Taylor Green's a talented
yep.
running back or quarterback, and their running back, whose name's escaping me, is
Washington.
quite capable too. Washington, thank you. He's physical, he's fast. Like it's quite the duo. Now A&M's going to get whatever they want on offense. I think we know that based on what we've seen everyone do to Arkansas. But so A&M's favored by 7.5. Over under 60.5. Just been so impressed by A&M. Like they haven't dropped one of those games yet that they have historically, and I don't anticipate this is going to be one either. This is not an Arkansas team that can get up down the field and match them overall because A&M can play some defense. They have some dogs on defense, so. I like A&M to cover that 7.5. I think they win by about 3 scores. They'll, you have Tennessee had Arkansas on the ropes, and they kind of went lollygagged around and ended up making that game closer than it was. I'm going to say A&M. I like them 35 to 25 or 24, 35-24. So that's going to get you to cover, but hits the under just a little bit.
So you're gonna take the under.
Yeah.
You'll take the under. I'm going. Okay. Well, we finally differ a little bit. I'm going to take the over, but I think everything else you said is kind of on point. I made the mistake of picking Arkansas a couple weeks ago with Notre Dame coming in there, thinking they would play for something and move the
That's
ball
right.
and all that. This A&M defense is better than the Notre Dame defense, and
Yep.
the A&M went to Notre Dame and won. So
Right.
they're the Notre Dame team that absolutely murdered Arkansas is a team that went to South Bend and beat them. So I, I'm like you. I think A&M covers. I think it goes over. I think this game easily gets played in the 30s. I think A&M probably gets in the high 30s, low 40s. The difference with Arkansas this week than last week with Tennessee is last week with Tennessee they had 2 weeks to prepare. So Petrino had 2 weeks of game planning and scheming and plays, and he's very good at that. Whereas they don't get the same luxury this week with A&M, so they don't move the ball
Mhm.
quite as well. And of course, A&M is better on defense than Tennessee. I mean, that's obvious. So,
Right.
but
We know that too, right?
yes, absolutely. So, but I think Taylor Green's still talented enough to make plays. If Florida could put up 17, I don't know how Arkansas don't get in the 20s. So I
That's
got
true.
this game going. I got this game going over like 38 to 21, 24, 45, 24. I think it's played that
Okay.
high, and
Okay.
yeah, and it just goes over. But A&M still covers and everything else you said. But I just think it goes over.
Yeah. I mean, we're differing by just a few points there. I'm hitting
Yeah.
the
Oh yeah.
under
Not
by a
much.
point or so, and
Yep.
you're over by 3 or so. So, all right. Next one, a big one, big, which you could say that against any of these games, honestly, but this is none bigger than this one. This is Ole Miss travels to Georgia. Ole Miss is looking to prove, no, we are legit. We're beating teams we should. This is an opportunity to go between the hedges and get a win that would be, well, what it'll do if nothing else, it'll make Lane Kiffin one of the highest paid coaches in the country, whether it's at Ole Miss or Florida or
Wherever he
wherever
goes
else
to.
next year.
Right. Yep. Yep.
Right? Right.
Uh huh.
This is an opportunity to get a pay raise somehow, some way. Georgia favored by 7.5, over under 54.5. All right. Well, who's starting the quarterback for Ole Miss? Let's start with that.
Right. Well, it's got to be Chambliss. If I'm Lane
I
Kiffin,
assume it's Chambliss, right?
I don't even the Washington State game leaves you kind of a bad taste, but I don't
Yeah.
hold that against him. He's played so well.
That's a sleepwalk game. Yeah.
He's allowed to sleepwalk. They'll be sharp and tuned in for this Georgia game. Make no mistake.
Right. Yep. I'll let you go first. What's your
Sure.
call here?
I'm gonna I'll, and at the end of the show, folks, you will see how this works. Home teams win 75% of the time. Over the last 5 years, they've won 70. I think Georgia wins a very close one. I think the under hits here because I think Georgia. I think they don't cover the 7.5. I think they win by like 3 or 5 or 6. So I think they win like 24 to 20 or 28-24, 28-27. You know, right around in there. I don't think they get to. I don't think they get to the 54. Uh, and I think Georgia. I don't think Georgia covers the 7.5. I think Georgia wins a close one though outright, and I think the under hits.
Yep. All right. I can see that. I'm going to go with the upset here. Partially because Ole Miss can seemingly put some points on the board. Now we saw Alabama go into Georgia win that game, and I'm not saying that Alabama's a better team or whatever than Ole Miss, but we've seen it's doable, right? And we've seen Georgia struggle on offense. We saw them struggle on offense that game. We saw struggle on offense until late against Auburn last weekend. Um, Ole Miss. I'm going to say Ole Miss wins this game, covers that, obviously. I think the under hits, though. I'm going to kind of flip the score. I'm going to say like a 27-23 Ole Miss win.
I could see.
I just feel like that they're I don't know the do matters, but like this is an opportunity to win a big game to show that no, we're legit. We haven't won in Georgia in whatever. Um, yeah, Georgia's obviously a very good football program. They found a way to win every game except that Bama game. I just feel like that's going to catch up to you eventually when your offense is struggling. And if you have a team like Ole Miss who can put points on the board, like Tennessee did, um, this is an opportunity for Ole Miss to make a huge statement. I think they get it done Saturday.
I could see that. Now that's terrible for our picks, Delaney. So I don't know why you would bring that
I
juju.
know.
Don't you put that magic on me, Delaney? Don't you put that magic on me? but I could, if they go in there and win, wouldn't shock anybody. I'm with you. Would either team wins this wouldn't surprise me. So
no, right, absolutely, yeah. All right. Texas Tech travels to Arizona State. Arizona State coming off a drubbing from Utah. Texas Tech is just rolling right along. No one's talking about them. They're probably quite happy with that right at this point because they're going to take care of business and they're going to end up in the playoff. And you're going to be like, I don't want them in my bracket. I don't. Can they be somewhere else, please? Because they are a scary football team on both sides of the ball. They're like the Indiana with a great defensive line as well. Confident quarterback play. They're just really well coached. I don't see them going in and getting beat by this Arizona State team who's struggling a little bit. Tech going in to Utah and winning Houston and just kind of drubbing everybody else. I like Tech to win this kind of big. Certainly cover that 7.5. The over under, I can see that hitting over probably. I'm gonna say Tech 38, Arizona 20. 38-20.
yeah, I'm with you. I think Arizona State's in big trouble. I think Texas Tech, if that, like you said, they went to Utah. Utah went to Salt Lake and won. They go to Houston and win. They're not going to have any trouble in the desert. I just don't see that. So yeah,
No.
they win. I'm like you. I think they cover the 7.5, but actually I think I'm going to take the under in it because I think it could easily. I don't think Arizona State could score the football very much, so I don't think they're going to help out.
Sure.
And I think Texas is a-okay playing this game in the high 30s, low 40s, and only giving up maybe 10 points. So
yeah,
I'll take the under, but Texas Tech to win outright and to cover.
All right. Memphis, which we're not going to discuss this game really. Is not much to really talk about. I anticipate Memphis will win this game. UAB. I don't even want to touch that line. Oregon traveled to Rutgers. Not really much to talk about there, other than they have to make another trip way east, further east than State College this time. Thankfully, although you could say they played a good Penn State team, but maybe that wasn't true in the end.
Right.
I don't
Seemed good at the
anticipate
time.
them having trouble winning. Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, exactly. 3 weeks ago, we thought Penn State was a couple plays away from beating them, but they're favored by 17.5 against Rutgers, over under 60.5. I just don't see how Rutgers keeps this game anywhere near close. So I think that 7 to 17.5. So I'm going to hit that. They're going to cover that, and I like the over. Mostly Oregon doing a lot of that work. I'm going to say, let's see. I'm going to say Oregon 45, Rutgers 17. So over hits and Oregon away covers.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, everything you just said. They go up big. They score a lot. Rutgers don't contribute a whole lot because the Oregon defense is good. So yeah, I got Oregon in the high 40s, low 50s, and then Rutgers putting up 14, 13, something like that, in trash time, not in real time.
Right. No, exactly. No, the score's not even that close, right?
No.
Yeah, this is a game like Dan Lanning will have these guys set straight. This is a disappointing loss they had to Indiana last weekend. They want to stay in the hunt for the perhaps the Big Ten title. They'd done a little help there, but certainly a playoff hunt. And dropping a game in Piscataway is not the way to help your resume.
No.
So I think they win this big. They'll be focused. They'll play much better.
And it's 5:30. It's 5:30, 6:30 Rutgers time.
So it'd be 6:30. It'd be 6:30 Eastern, and so it's what
3:30 Oregon. So they're fine.
2:30. So there's not a body clock problem there, really. Yeah.
Nope.
All right. Virginia, surprising Virginia taking on Washington State. That's a nice travel thing. I don't see, I mean, there's not much to talk about here, but I think Virginia wins this, covers that. They're not a very good football team, Washington State. It's another travel across the country, and you're not a very good football program. You're 3-3. How motivated are you to go to Charlottesville? Not exactly playing in, the swamp or something interesting or Neyland. Um, yeah, I don't even. Did you have this game down as one to even think
I
about?
did only because it's ranked. That's
Yep.
the only reason I have it on
Sure.
there. So I
Yeah.
mean, the Virginia covering 17 and a half, we agree on that. That 50
Yes.
was at
100%.
56 and a half.
56 and a half.
Yeah, I'll go under on that because I don't think Washington State contributes, and I think Virginia's probably in the high 30s, low 40s. So I'll go the under
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah. Boy, those numbers are pretty close to each other in reality.
Don't overthink it.
This is tough because I know, right? I know, but that's exactly right. I'm gonna do uh I'm gonna do the under as well. I
Under,
I
okay.
like Virginia win this like 33-20. So I'm gonna say that Washington State covers, backdoor cover maybe.
Oh, okay. So you say Washington State covers. Nice. Okay.
hmm It's just a big number for a Virginia team that's obviously pretty solid, but I don't know that they're a
Right.
heavy favorite like that can hang on to that 17 and a half.
Fair enough.
Oh, do we need to hit that Memphis UAB game? I kind of glossed over, but you got it written
No,
down.
I don't because
No,
it's
okay,
Memphis. Nobody. If the
that's fine.
if
Exactly,
the
that's what I
city of
thought. Right?
Memphis, if Arkansas bought the city of Memphis from the state of Tennessee, I would be a-okay with that, as would every other person in the state. So
Right.
yeah,
They
we
just
don't have to talk
changed the
about
state
Memphis.
lines a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, just
Okay, very good.
yeah, you know how they gerrymander? They need to gerrymander
Yeah,
Memphis right on into
gerrymander. That's
Arkansas.
a big
Yes.
chunk, I think. We'll even give you a little bit more. We'll give you like
Yeah.
the eighth of the state on that end of things.
We'll throw
On
in
the west
Jackson,
side.
which is just outside of Memphis. We'll throw in Jackson, and hell,
Sure,
you guys can say
sure,
Elvis came from. You can say Elvis lived there his whole life. We don't care. We do not care.
absolutely. That's fine. You're embarrassment, so knock yourself out,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. They can have it.
Well, here's an interesting one. Maybe, probably not. Maybe it's just wishful thinking. Texas travels to Lexington to take on a really bad Kentucky football program. Has Texas figured things out and turned things around? Who knows? They had a good game, uh, pretty good game against Oklahoma. Pulled out Red River last weekend, 23-6. In which they scored 20 unanswered the second half against what we think is a damn good uh, OU defense. I don't see how Kentucky puts up much of a fight here. Texas is able to run the ball a little bit better last weekend, and maybe if Arch is improving, I'm not saying he's at Heisman level, but if he's improving and taking care of the ball and making good decisions, there's no way Kentucky stands within that 12 and a half. So I'm gonna give benefit of the doubt to Sark and Texas that they're gonna win this game and roll. I like them to win. I think they get that 42 and a half is quite the number. I think that way over hits. I like Texas to go up and Texas gonna win 35-16.
Okay. I we're different a lot on this.
Okay.
I think Texas wins outright. I'm with you. I think because the game's at night in Lexington, I think Kentucky keeps it close.
People are
And the
lathered up.
defense, the defense is, the defense isn't terrible. They're not good. They're just
Yeah.
not terrible. And I'll believe the Arch hype and turn the corner when I see it happen in consecutive weekends. That's when I'll believe it.
Sure.
So at
Sure.
night
That's
in
fair.
Lexington, I've been there at night, watched Tennessee play. It gets a little loud. The Wildcats faithful will come out and support them because they always do.
Sure.
And so I'll take Texas to win, but I think Kentucky backdoor covers that 12 and a half. I think it's they're like a 31, no, I don't even know to get that high because that's a 42 and a half. I think because I'm
Right.
gonna take the under. So I'm gonna say it's
The
20,
under.
like they're like 21-14 or 24-14, something like that. And
Okay.
Kentucky just scores maybe late to kind of give everybody a little excitement to get hopeful for it, and then they don't win like they usually don't. So
Right.
yeah, I think it's closer than the guys in the desert put it, in my opinion.
Yeah. All right. All right. Well, I said that Ole Miss Georgia game was the big game of the weekend, but least I forget, there's one arguably bigger, or certainly right there. Uh, your Tennessee Vols travel to T-Town to take on the Bammers.
The
Huge
Bammers.
rivalry game. It's
Did you
classic, all timer.
do you know why birds fly upside down over the state of Alabama, Brian?
Why did birds fly upside down in the state of Alabama?
Hmm.
I do not know.
Well, there's nothing in the state worth shitting on.
I've not been to Alabama, but I gather that's actual truth, right?
It's for sure. I spent a
That's
day in Birmingham and Hoover.
scientifically,
I don't make the news, folks. I just report it. And
right?
it's the same reason why the difference between Bryant Denny Stadium and a porcupine is, right? You probably know this one.
This one, all the pricks are on the inside or outside, something
Exactly
like
right. Yeah,
that.
all the pricks are on inside Bryant Denny Stadium. So
That's I mean,
yeah, yeah. So
yeah.
yeah,
So, yeah, I'm gonna let you lead this one and talk
sure.
about this one because there's a lot to unpack here, and this one I wanted to spend a little time on.
This one's going to hurt, I think, because I think Alabama will, based on what we've seen of the Tennessee defense all year, Alabama will be able to get anything they want on offense because nothing. Ty Simpson's playing great. Jam Miller may or may not be out. He's hurt, concussed. So who knows what happens with him? Even if he don't play, they're going to run the ball because everyone runs the ball in Tennessee. They're going to throw the ball with Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard because everyone throws the ball in Tennessee. So I think Alabama gets whatever they want. So I'll take Alabama outright. I think Tennessee covers at 7.5 though, because the way Alabama gives up a lot of yards rushing, they don't rush the passer very well. Tennessee will get
Right.
after Ty Simpson.
Weird to
They've
say.
given up 13 sacks already this year, which is like second or third most in the league. Tennessee has the most sacks in the league. The problem is going to be down in distance. And I think Alabama will run the ball enough to keep third down in a spot where you don't know if you need to rush him or go all out after him or not. So Alabama does not turn the ball over. They're plus like 7 or 8 all year for turnovers, so they don't
Sure.
turn the ball over. Ty Simpson don't put the ball in harm's way. You see Missouri get 5 sacks on Alabama, so that gives me hope we can get after him. So I think they keep it close. So I think Tennessee covers a 7.5, but I think the over. There ain't no way this game don't get played in the 30s by both teams.
Absolutely.
No way, no way. So the over is. I don't ever want to like give anyone a lock or 100% or anything like that. But if there ever was going to be a bet that was almost 100% positive going to hit, is going to be 59.5. But now the rule of gambling is if everything points to something happening, you go opposite. So we'll see. But
just do the opposite, right? Do like Costanza. Do the opposite.
In my opinion, Alabama plays this game in the 40s. Tennessee gets in the high 30s.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to take Bama 41-35, 41-38, because I think we get in the 30s, but I don't think we make 40, where I think Alabama gets there. So give me Alabama outright. Tennessee covers and the over hits.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I've been thinking about this the last couple of days. Like the thing that keeps me from wanting to pick a Tennessee to pull an upset here is because how I've seen teams, including Arkansas, just run the ball so well against Tennessee's defense. And you have an offense in Alabama that can run the ball well. If Jam Miller's hurt or not, I mean, if he's starting to play a little better too. Of course, that's because he's healthier. If he's able to participate, or there's one other running backs can play well, they're going to keep that Tennessee offense, which is their power to keep them off the field. Of course, if Tennessee defense plays like it is, there'll be some explosives for Alabama and Ryan Williams. So there's that too. Tennessee might get the ball back more often.
Right.
Playing from behind.
It's going to be a lot of possessions. They won't be.
Yeah.
I can't imagine there being a lot of 7, 8, 9 play drives.
Yeah, right,
There's probably not going to be a lot of
right,
those. It's going to be up and down the
right.
field, track meet. I think it's going to be a fun football game. I do.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm gonna go with well, my heart says Tennessee, but my gut says I gotta stick with Bama here. It's gonna be Bama 38-33. Tennessee covers that 7.5, and the over is way over.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be
I
surprised
was.
if both teams hit in the 40s too. Like, I mean,
Oh yeah.
we've seen Bama give up some scores, like, and obviously Tennessee gave up 40 plus to Georgia. And I'd say this is a better Alabama team. At least the quarterback plays better, as well.
Yes.
You can't compare the two because it's the transitive property doesn't really work. But knowing what we know about both teams, yeah, I mean this could be a track meet. Watch it end up being a rock fight, but I'd bet it's more likely to be like doing like a tennis match than it is a boring old 1985 Big Ten game, something like that.
Yeah. I don't. I mean, the way these offenses are playing and the way the defenses, I just trust the Alabama defense to get a stop or two more than the Tennessee defense will. The only way
And that
Tennessee
might be the
wins
last
this
person
game,
has the ball.
and if you told me right now, Chris, Aguilar gets the ball on the 30, you need a field goal to win it. I love being in that position. If you say, Chris,
Sure.
Ty Simpson gets the ball on the 30 with a chance to go score a field goal, win it, I hate that position because I know what's going to
Yeah,
happen.
right.
So, and I think both
They're
teams
gonna
will
get
say the
6
same
probably.
thing. Yes. So I hope they get 6 fast so we get the ball back and try to score again and win it.
Yes, right,
So,
right. Yeah, that's the difference, right? That's the
right,
third option.
because either team, either fan of either team knows that whoever gets that football last, if it's within a score, is probably going to move that football down and have a chance to win that game. Because I don't think either defense gets
Right.
a stop very much. I just think Alabama gets 1 or 2 more and puts a little distance, and then Tennessee closes it up and keeps it kind of there the whole game. So, but again, the way we get after the quarterback, a strip sack, which we've scored more.
Right.
We've scored more on defense than any other team in the league. A strip sack, a fumble, anything like that, and you get a cheap touchdown, that changes things too. So it's gonna be fun.
Absolutely.
Buckle up. It's gonna be
Yeah.
a barn burner. It's gonna be a lot of fireworks. I think it's gonna be a lot like that 21
Right.
game.
I know. Sure. Yes. That which is an all-time one of the best
Yeah.
games I've ever seen in my life.
Boy.
Absolutely. I'm so the path to Tennessee winning is, somehow forcing a turnover and giving some short fields, getting some extra possessions. Kind of like they did against Georgia. Just come out on fire and don't let off the gas. Like that's the thing we talked about where Heupel's been a little bit known to like, all right, let's just start run the ball. Let's start icing this a little too early. Hopefully, after that Georgia game and then the Arkansas game, these two this year, even no, you have to put your foot on the throat and just kind of start twisting it until that final whistle goes. They'll need some luck. They'll need to force a turnover. They need to, force Bama into some, third and longs. Make them earn that. Keep Williams and Bernard in front of you. And there's a path for Tennessee to win, but it's going to be difficult, right?
Sure.
I mean, those corners and safeties, yeah.
And one last thing I'll say about this one is the middle 8, like we talk about, the middle 8 is going to be so important in this game because the last thing you could do if you're either team is let a team double dip into first half, get ball second half. So if it's a 21-14 game, either team, Tennessee or Alabama, and it's the last 4 minutes of the first half and they get ball second half, that 21-14 could become 35-14 really damn quick.
Absolutely.
So,
even if it's 31-14, a touchdown or a field goal, that's problematic, right?
Right. So you could be in that game the whole first half, and then within the last 4 minutes of the first half, first 4 minutes of the second half, all of a sudden you're down 14 points, 17 points, 21, whatever. And now it's it's a lost cause because you're not going to get the stops you need to get back in the game. Yep.
Right. Yeah. You're assuming you're going to stop them again. Right. Exactly. And score every time successfully, which is unlikely. So
you might score every time, but you're not going to get the stops. That's the problem is comebacks. You got to get stops. And I don't know that either team gets enough in a row. They may get 1 or 2 here and there. The punters should probably just hang over on the sideline, fraternize with the cheerleaders, have you a couple
Right.
brewskis, sit back and enjoy the game because the punters ain't gonna get much work,
No.
and just up and down they'll go. So
Just
I'm
leave your helmet in the locker room.
yeah,
Leave it
just
up.
leave it out there.
Leave the helmet in the locker room. You ain't gonna need it.
Don't worry about your cleats. Don't tape up.
You ain't gonna need
No
it.
need to do any of that
It's
stuff.
fine. Seriously, that's just a waste of tape, and you can stretch a little bit if you want, about the
Yep.
same amount you would to if you're gonna just go for a light jog.
They
But
won't have
that's
to
about it.
shower after the game because they won't get sweaty at all.
No, no, absolutely not. Nope. All right, next game. USC travels to South Bend, Indiana. USC
Another
off
banger.
of a really dominating performance against Michigan, going against a Notre Dame team that's started out 0-2, and now they've won 4 straight and looking to show that they still belong in the playoff hunt. This is the game that they have to win if they want to be taken seriously. And now that it's good for them that USC is playing really well. USC has a one blemish, lost to Illinois a couple weeks ago. Like I said, USC comes out and plays really well against Michigan. They look really good on both sides of the ball, frankly. We've seen Notre Dame be able to put some points on the board. Carr kid went for 340 yards passing last weekend. This is a tough one. Like it's a night game, 7:30 in South Bend. Catholics will be lathered up after mass. I just, USC was able to put points on the board against a, kind of okay Illinois offense. They just couldn't get stops. The thing with Notre Dame is they can run the ball better than Illinois, and that's the one thing with Jeremiah Love. Those backs can maybe control this game a little bit better, and we know that Michigan didn't take advantage of it, partly because Haynes got hurt. But SC's defense is susceptible to the run. We saw that multiple times this year. Hell, even Michigan State was able to put 31 points against USC in the Coliseum. So this is a tough game for USC. I mean, I think they can put up enough points, but can they put up enough? Like Notre Dame's favored by 9.5. I mean,
That's an
quite
insane
the
number.
number there.
That is an insane number.
Right?
You know where I'm going.
What we've seen about both teams.
Yep.
Yeah, right. 61.5 over under. I believe in USC more than I believe in Notre Dame. I'm going to take USC to win this game, and I think the over hits way over. I'm going to say because that Notre Dame secondary is not going to enjoy watching Kyle Lemon and Jacoby Lane running past them, and their tight ends, Lake McCree, running past them. And the only problem with SC is that they may be down to their freshman walk-on running back who ran for 150 yards against Michigan.
Yeah.
So
he's got a cool name too. What was his name?
Shoot.
He had a badass name. I forget what it was.
Love? No, not
no.
Love. It was a cool name though. Yeah. Yeah, his brother plays on the team. His brother's offensive lineman.
Yep.
I like USC to win this game. So they'll obviously cover the 9.5. I'm gonna say USC 38, Notre Dame 27.
Okay.
38-27. In a closer game than it may look there. That's just it's a battle back and forth, but SC gets a couple big plays late to kind of seal it.
Okay, I'm with you. I only differ a little bit. I think USC wins as well. I should have known better. You weren't going to take Notre Dame, but because being a Michigan fan, you can't in your heart do that, and I get it. But I'm going to take USC.
Right.
I'm going to take them as well. I'm like you. I think the over hits, so we agree on this. I think the worst thing USC ever did, the worst thing Notre Dame ever did to try to win this game was put in turf, because back in 2005, if you'll remember the Bush push or whatever it was, they had the grass that was it hadn't been mowed in like a month and a half.
For a week, 2 weeks.
It was trying to slow USC down.
Like
that's
they should have got
an
ordinance. They should have gotten a fine from the city for the grass too long.
They had to bush hog that field. They didn't just mow it. They had to bush hog it after that game was over. So it was so bad. And so now it's turf,
Yeah.
USC up and down. This is another one that's going to be a fun game to watch because I think it's up and down. But I think Notre Dame is officially eliminated from playoff contention. I think Notre Dame is officially
Hmm.
eliminated from playoff contention. USC finally gets a little bit of respect. Not that you don't get it when you beat Michigan, but you beat them at home, and it's a 8-4 Michigan team, probably 9-3 Michigan team at best
Right. Maybe.
at this
I
point.
don't know if it's the
So
best.
yeah, so say they're 8-4. You go into South Bend at night and win over this Notre Dame team. That's you're gonna get respect now. You're gonna get talked about. I think they've been
Absolutely.
disrespected all year. They wasn't ranked for a long time for whatever reason, and so yeah, I'm like you. I think they go in there and they win. And I think Marcus Freeman. I think it's a bad loss for Marcus Freeman, even though he played last year in the national championship, so he's not in any kind of trouble. But I think they drop it, and they're officially out of the playoff contention this year.
Yeah. I like Maeva to put up big numbers and start to be mentioned in the Heisman race with some other guys, right? I mean, this kid's talented, talented.
Oh, yeah, no, that's a good point.
He's not been the reason they lost these games. That their game against Illinois, they just couldn't get a stop on defense. So I like this Maeva kid.
The
He's excellent. Got great skill guys to throw the ball to.
Yeah, Notre Dame secondary can get got, so you got to like that.
Hmm. Yeah, we
And yeah,
saw what A&M did to him, for example.
right, right. And the USC offense is not. I mean, it might be behind A&M a little bit, but not much. You could argue they're better.
Not far, no, right.
So,
Lemon may be a better wide receiver than Craver. I mean, like
oh, for sure.
that's not a crazy thing. He might be a
No,
higher draft pick, for example. Like so. I mean, you got a quarterback who's I think Maeva is a better quarterback than Reed. I mean, I like Reed. He's a really good he's
hmm
athlete, but he's more balanced. He's more polished as a passer. So yeah, I like the SC to win this game. This may be one of the
USC,
last few times that these two teams start to play.
yeah,
I think
which is sad.
because now that USC's in the Big Ten, there's no reason to play this game. I mean, you're going to have enough games where you play in Michigan and Ohio State and Penn State and Oregon, maybe Washington. You don't need another non-conference game that's like this, where you could put a dent in your resume and kick yourself out of the playoff by just playing a game you don't really need to. And I think that's a bad thing. I hope that doesn't come true, but I would not be surprised if this series is either halted or paused for a while
Yeah,
um,
it
in the
sucks
near future.
because that's what 9-game
Hmm.
conference games go. That's what they do to you. You only get 12 total in the regular
Sure
season.
does.
You're going to play 9 of them against your conference. So why in the world would you sign up one of the other three when you could pay some team $1 million come in there and take a whipping, but finance their athletic departments for the next 5 years or whatever? So why
Absolutely.
do it? Why travel all the way to South Bend at night and do that whenever you have 9 games to play in conference? So I'm with you. I hope it don't go away, but I can see that it would. And USC,
Yeah.
King Miller. King Miller is that kid's name that ran the ball on
King
Michigan.
Miller. King.
King
Should
Miller.
know. King Miller.
Yep. So
He was king.
you have
He
a good
was
game. They'll have a good
he
game
was
Saturday
the
night too.
king. Yeah. I suspect Jeremiah Love will too, though. There's
Yes,
that.
he will.
All right. South Florida Bulls, who's got a coach who's not for long there. They take on Florida Atlantic. This should be someone's gonna really watch it. It's on ESPNU. So I know nothing about Florida Atlantic. We know
I even
South
put this game
Florida's a
down.
pretty good football program. No, okay, well then there you go. We'll just skip over that. I anticipate South Florida wins the game straight up. That's as much as I will say
Yeah.
about it. Here's a game we have to at least talk about a little bit. Mizzou travels to the Plains, take on Auburn, and Mizzou is a 1.5-point favorite, coming off a close loss to Alabama. Auburn's coming off a kind of a tough beat by Georgia down there. Had the game 10-0, fumbled the ball away, getting ready to go up 17-0, and then Georgia said, "No, we're good here. We're going to go ahead and just score 20 unanswered." So we'll see you next year. Mizzou had chances to win that game, and Perula threw the ball away a couple times to Alabama. So this is a game that that Mizzou kind of really needs to win to stay in that hunt. There's going to be so many teams at the top of that SEC that you can't afford to lose to a team that's unranked, right? It's to a kind of an average Auburn team. I think Mizzou's a better football team right now. I think that's a tough place to go down and play. Even Saban said it's like some sort of voodoo thing in there that it's
Right.
haunted.
He
I
said
think
it's
he said
haunted.
it
Yes.
was
Yeah.
haunted. Um, with all the kick six and the flop six and everything else. Mizzou by 1.5. Auburn's been right there with some of these teams and, should have had some upsets in there. So they have the ability. I'm going to go with Auburn upset. I'm going to go with the home team in the SEC that covers that, 70+% winning percentage that we're kind of tracking here with our gambling bets. Auburn wins. The under hits. I think it's this is like a 23-20. No, I'm gonna have the hook there. 23-20. Auburn wins. The under hits by the hook.
Man, we are so in tune because the way you were talking
I
at
think we're
first,
so
I was
offset.
like, no, it's crazy because you were talking about Missouri, how they're better and all that. And I'm like, he's gonna pick Missouri because I already written down Auburn and the under. Like I wrote that down as soon as we started on the game, and it was like, let's see what he does. And you start talking, I was like, he's gonna pick Missouri. That's good. We'll be different. And then like, I'm gonna take Auburn in the upset because I
Yeah.
love him in this position at night on the plains.
Yeah.
Hugh Freeze has to
Yeah.
have it. He has to have it.
Yes.
After all the bad that's happened over this year with the terrible penalties and you rip defeat out of the jaws of victory so many times, you get sacked 10 times in Oklahoma. There's just so much bad shit's happening.
Yeah.
He's a good football coach. You're not going to tell me he's going to go through this whole year with that defense, which is salty, by the way. They're going to go through this whole year and not get a big win, a win over a ranked team. And I think the best one is staring them right in the face Saturday night. So I'm with you.
This is their big opportunity.
Yes. So give me Auburn. I'm like you the under because I think it's a rock fight. 2017.
It might be ugly.
20-14, 21-17.
Yeah.
I'm with you. But
right.
I love Auburn in this position.
If this game was at noon, I might think otherwise. But it's just the Grove will be his circus all day, and that doesn't lead to points, but it can lead to an untimely false start, or it does matter a little bit at some point. Like the crowd, the whiteout, that kind of thing doesn't really matter because if you go there, you play football, you block and you tackle, but they're. Again, we talk about you're not getting the same team every time. You've got 20-year-old. Venue matters, man. Venue the time of day matters. It's
absolutely.
It's like that's. I can't hear the play coming in. I'm running a dig route, and it's supposed to be a flag route. And next thing you know, really throws an interception to seal a game. I mean, it's little things like that can that's not going to show up in the stat sheet. But that's what's talked about. That's where we got to get better in the locker room afterwards. So yeah, I just this is enough where Auburn is. Do doesn't really mean anything. Do doesn't. They're at a point where like they're so close. Like this is the game that puts them over the edge. They're able to plan this well enough because this is a good Mizzou team, but they're obviously very beatable.
For sure, and Auburn is good enough. They've been good enough to win a couple games this year. They just couldn't get it done, and I just don't think that luck keeps running like that. Eventually Hugh Freeze figures it out, or Jackson Earl don't fumble at the goal line, even though that's a touchdown, but that's a whole other thing. But you just stuff like that seems to be happening to Auburn, and I just looks like a perfect spot for them to finally, like you said, get over the hump. Finally put one away on defense, or put one away with a late touchdown or something that solidifies it. And there's no question. And Hugh Freeze gets the win he needs, because you lose this, now your seat is starting to really, really get warm. So.
Yeah, because your schedule ain't going to be easy.
Nope.
As well. By the way, you got to play Bama last game of the season. That ain't going to be easy. So then you're just fighting for your bowl life, potentially, if you lose this game. You win this game, And that does so many things for that program. Like Hugh Freeze, they feel better about who they are. Like, look, these games we lost, we were able to put it together. This game's gonna go one of two ways. One, they either show that like we made the right adjustments and we're able to topple those and come up on top, or they end up looking like they have been and fumble the ball away in opportune times, or can't protect to give up 9-10 sacks against
Right.
OU. It's that may continue, and you're going to be like a Nebraska team who just can't quite get over the hump. They can't quite beat those teams that they're not favored in. And I'm betting on Hugh Freeze to be able to call and get some late night services after the game.
Yeah. He's been known to do it.
Celebratory.
Yep. He's been known to do it.
Yeah, on his own phone, not
Yep.
as a burner phone. He's just going to use his own.
He's a good football coach.
All
No
right,
one ever
well,
said
big
he's
one.
a smart person
Absolutely.
overall.
Yes, he is. No, exactly right. Guys, remember, PE teacher.
Yes, that's what these guys are.
Game in BYU, Utah BYU. This is a big game for obviously top 25 matchup. We've not really talked about too much of any team. The one Utah blemish is they took it on the chin to Texas Tech that opening weekend. But they've rattled off 5 in a row, and BYU's cruising to top 15 team right now. I've not seen tons of BYU, so it is interesting that Utah is favored by 3.5. Is there ever a game? Is the over under? Has it ever been under 50 before for these teams like this? 49.5.
I don't understand that over under at all.
Yeah, I'm clearly missing something, obviously. Yeah, I'm gonna let you start this one out because I'm not real sure. I'm gonna be wishy-washy here, I'm afraid.
Well, this game is an eliminator game from playoff contention for Utah because neither one of these teams make the playoff with 2 losses. Not going to happen. One is
Absolutely
the
not.
max.
That's
absolute
a fact.
max.
Right.
So you're going
Right.
out to BYU to play a team that Utah really has to have it. The only problem with Utah is they're running into a BYU team that is at not and really good. So I'm going to take
Yes.
BYU in this one, straight up. I'm going to take BYU, and I'm going to take the over. As I'm like you, I think there's a lot of points get scored. So I don't understand that 49.
Yep.
This game gets played in the 30s by both teams, but I think BYU makes enough plays to win it. So I'll take BYU, and I think they eliminate Utah from the playoff contention because you're not going to make it with 2 losses, not those 2.
Nope, I 100% agree. BYU wins this game. This game's playing in the 30s. I think, like,
Right.
unless there's a whole bunch of people hurt that we're not aware of, I like BYU to win this game, like 37-30, and just obliterate that that over.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you. I said I don't understand that over under, but I said there's a big city in the desert that knows things that we don't know. So maybe they know something.
Right, clearly. They'll make us a fool. All right, well, the last game here, top 25 matchups, is Cincinnati traveling to just a putrid program at Oklahoma State. Stillwater, Oklahoma is just circling the drain. Sitting at 1-5, fired their coach.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, we don't spend much time on this. I didn't put this down either because I have the Florida Mississippi State game on here,
good.
and I also have the UM and Washington game as well. So we could just go right to those if you want to.
Good. Okay, let's do that. Yep, absolutely, go for it. Let's see. Let me get this. I can see what I'm doing here. We need a producer. All right, let's go to this.
Right.
See.
Do you think Jamie with Rogan, the Rogan podcast is available?
yeah, he might. Yeah, he's got nothing else to do on a third Wednesday at 10 o'clock Eastern. They're in California or Texas, right? So they're
in Austin. Yeah,
it's easy for them. All right. Yeah. Washington Huskies traveling to Ann Arbor, Michigan to take on the 4-2 Wolverines.
Low key good game.
These are not
the way.
ranked teams, but they're
Low
Yeah,
key
it
good game.
absolutely is. It's kind of important. This is this is the little, maybe a little nuts, but like Sharon Moore really needs this game. The fan base is not saying, not all, some of them are, of course, fire him, but like he's showing enough. Like, dude, you're starting to look like this Brady Hoke era, Rich Rod era. This is not looking pretty. Some of the in-game decisions, some of the roster management, some of the coaching hires, there's some ugly marks there. And so you go out to USC and just take one on the chin, um, and in a fashion that was like, man, you didn't do anything well on either side of the ball, including tackling and protecting Bryce Underwood. Now, the trouble with Washington is that they just took one on the chin to a great Ohio State team a couple weeks ago, and they've managed to beat Rutgers and Maryland, kind of come from behind wins. Now, the one thing that Michigan has going for them is, well, hopefully they can put things together and let the offense is starting to come together with wide receivers, because the Washington defense has struggled. Their defensive line is not great. Their defense as a whole is not great. So if Michigan can run the ball, if Haynes is able to play, you got dinged against that USC, got an abdomen or rib injury. We'll see. They could be ran on. The problem for Washington, as much as anything, is this game's at noon Eastern. That's a 9 a.m. body clock kick
Yep.
for Washington. The Big Ten, the Fox did no favors to Washington. They had traveled to Maryland 2 weeks ago at night. Now they're traveling to Ann Arbor to play a 9 a.m. Pacific time kick. Michigan, they've had trouble stopping the run and against USC. And Washington has some dynamic players. Boston at wide receiver, and the running back's really good. And Mon Williams, the quarterback, like they're very electric. They can put some points on the board. This 50.5 is probably in danger. If I think probably the over. I think both teams struggle to make stops. I'm going to say Michigan wins this close, but Washington covers. I think this game is going to be like probably it's like 31-30 Michigan win, maybe a kick at the buzzer to win it. I think this is really close game. Again, Sherrone Moore needs this. You go to 4-3 and you're staring down another loss for sure at the end of the season, potentially against Ohio State. And you're like, yeah, think to yourself, like, well, if we can't beat Washington at home, we have all these advantages. Can we go on the road and beat a bad
Right.
Michigan State team? I don't know. They got to play Purdue. They got to play Northwestern. They got to play Maryland on the road. This looks like a game that, like, okay, get your set right, 5-2. Let's cruise, see if we can get into the Ohio State game with only 2 losses, and see what happens. But this is the toughest game they have to play between now and then, and
Right.
I think they get it done. But maybe it looks ugly, and maybe it's barely.
Right. I'm with you. I think Michigan wins it because of that reason, like you just said, they have to have it. Big game for Sherrone Moore at home, which you love. The early body clock for Washington don't help them at all. And Michigan will be much different this week in the big house than they were out there in the Coliseum. You've alluded to it before.
Right.
They don't play well out on the West Coast. Besides beating Bammer,
Terrible.
they just don't play well out there.
Right.
So
Right.
at home, Washington traveling across the country like Michigan had to last Saturday. I'm with you. I think Michigan wins. I am with you as well. I think Washington covers, but I'm going to take the under because I think the Michigan defense keeps what. And let me just say first, I don't know how this total 50.5, how they get this more than the Utah BYU game. I don't know what the hell. I don't know what people are seeing. How is this over under higher than the Utah BYU game? But anyway, I digress.
That makes no sense. Like,
no,
yeah,
but I'm gonna
you.
take the under on it because I think Washington probably plays it in the teens. I think Michigan plays it in the 20s. So I think Michigan wins this game 24-20, something like that. 28, 21, somewhere in there. I think the under just hits, but I think Washington covers the 7.5.
Yep. I can see that. Yeah, I mean,
is it 7.5 now? Because I got it at
right.
6.5.
It's 6.5.
It's 6.5. It's 6.5. I thought it was 7.5. Yeah, so 6.5. I still think they cover that.
6.5. Yep.
I think they cover that.
I think it maybe came out at 7.5. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it may
changed a little
add.
bit since it came out. So,
So 24-20 something
all
like
right,
that.
and then
Yep.
let's go. And the last game was going to be, let's see where
UF and
the
Mississippi State, and the
CC
reason it's on there is because of
is
our home
the
team
Florida
picks
Mississippi State.
and a guy
Yes,
that's on the hot seat, scalding
and
hot seat, like
here we go.
city's on a stove with
So
all
that
four eyes
thing is
on.
like sitting on lava. But
Yes,
nevertheless,
yeah.
Florida's favored by 9.5.
I don't understand this. I
The
don't
Sharps are
understand
not
this.
impressed by Mississippi State yet. I think we are more so than they are.
Well, I think
I know
people
it's
know
in
that
the
Florida plays
swamp,
better
but
at home. Yeah, for sure.
yes. And they have a good defense, right? I mean, I'm not saying they're an elite defense, but they have a pretty good defense. Florida does. It's kind of helped them hang around and not get their ass kicked all season. They've kind of hung in some games that they shouldn't have. Probably it's the offense
Yep.
is the problem. Yeah, what's your guts here? How does Mississippi State win this game? How do they win this game and obviously cover that 9.5?
Well, I think they'll cover the 9.5, even if they lose. I mean, I'm going to pick. I mean, how does Mississippi State win? They win by
Yeah,
third down, and Fluff Bothwell is going to have a good game against a Florida defense that's pretty good. That's how they win it.
yep.
I think they do. I don't think Mississippi State wins it, but I think they keep it very close. I think Florida wins the game outright, something like 21-20, 21-17, or 20-17. I think it's low scoring because I don't know how you could trust the Florida offense, and I don't know how Mississippi State
No.
manufactures enough to win it with the Florida defense. That's pretty good. So, yeah, I'll take Florida outright. I'll take them outright, and then I'll take Mississippi State to cover though, and then I think the under hits.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a hard time disagreeing with you, even if I wanted to. Florida's good enough to win this game. They're a better football program than Mississippi State is right now. I mean, records don't reflect that, but Florida's had a rough hoe of
The
teams.
roster's
So
certainly better than Mississippi State, right?
I like
the roster's certainly
yes,
better.
absolutely right, exactly. Now, whether they're not better coached, which
Nope.
may be the difference here, and I think that's why Mississippi State at least covers that 9.5. That's a big number for Florida. That's a crazy 2-4 team that has to cover 9.5. I like Florida to win this game, but it's going to be I think it's going to be probably an ugly. I'm going to say 23-17 Gators.
Gotcha. Yeah. So you got Missouri, you got Mississippi State covering as well.
Yep.
Right.
Mississippi State covering, Florida winning outright, and the under hitting.
Here's one for you. Jeff Lebby at Mississippi State. If you took Jeff Lebby's coaching staff and you transplanted them and put them from Florida, and you put Billy Napier in Mississippi State's, Florida wins this game by 3 touchdowns. With the Jeff Lebby,
19.5 might be the spread.
that the way Jeff Lebby calls plays, what he could do with Lagway and Wilson for Florida, and that true freshman Wilson, and I just they would.
And Bond,
yeah. Oh boy, he would have a field day with those guys because he gets good offense out of Mississippi State that are just a bunch of 2- and 3-star guys that no one else really recruited, that Ole Miss didn't want. And so you give him that Florida roster and the transfer portal, that dude would kill it. That's one guy I don't want to see at the University of Florida is Jeff Lebby.
No, well, we're gonna this side topic for a little bit. What would a Mississippi State win here do for both programs? Like, if you're a Mississippi State fan and you got this house full of cowbells that are never ending, and you can take 2 to each game, just in case one breaks. Obviously you want to win this game, but if you win this game, he goes in the swamp and beats Florida, and he ain't for long in Stark Vegas, and he may not be anyway. But this is going to accelerate that clock a little bit, and it might accelerate the clock of when Billy Napier's office is cleaned out too. This would be one where, like, well, what are we waiting on? We just saw Penn State pull the trigger. We need to get going too. But as you said, their athletic department in general is just kind of a mess, and not really willing to move forward with any certainly sense of urgency. Maybe that changes this weekend if they take an L. Uh, Mississippi State win here means Jeff Levy will be having to look for new houses, perhaps in Gainesville, you know,
Right.
perhaps in Westwood, UCLA. So,
But he'd be crazy. I would. This is how bad that UCLA job is. There's
right.
no way I would leave Stark Vegas and the Cowbells to go coach in LA at UCLA if I was Jeff
To
Levy.
live in
I'd
LA.
stay another year. Now,
Right.
I'm with you that the
Yeah.
Mississippi State win, Napier's can Sunday. I think that's just the last thing. I think he's gone after that. Um, and if you're Mississippi State, you really want to win the game to say you beat Florida, but at the same time, you know, if Mississippi State wins, signals probably Levy's getting a big time hire because there's a lot of jobs that could be coming open. We talked about it last show. You know, you got if LSU if they lose at Vandy, all of a sudden the hot seat down there starts getting hot. FSU's, I mean, doorbell's already scalding. Napier would be gone. Penn State's open. Virginia Tech's open.
Right.
Wisconsin's coming open. Arkansas's open.
Right.
UCLA's open. Oklahoma State's. There's so many high major jobs.
Right.
You ain't gonna stay in Starkville.
Yeah.
Not with all that.
And
yeah.
No. Well, he's kind of a Southern guy, it's SEC kind of guy, right?
Yep.
So there's
For
plenty
sure.
of jobs in the South, if you will, even if you include Oklahoma State in the Big 12. Like, you know, just is he better off staying at Starkville or going to Oklahoma State? I think right now you can argue that he's right where he's at. Stay
Yep.
where he's at. That's
If
not an
you-
upgrade. You know, is
great-
Arkansas an upgrade from Mississippi State? I don't know.
No, it's not.
Is it? Not
It is
really.
not, and
right?
no, absolutely not. And you're right. If you're Jeff Levy and you win this game, your stock goes way up. Even though it's a terrible Florida team, you still win in Gainesville. But you can afford to be a little bit picky here. Right? With all the jobs coming open, you could be picky. Let me just sit back because you're going to get the calls from UCLA, Oklahoma State, Virginia Tech, Wisconsin.
Right.
You know, that comes open. You're going to get those calls anyway. What you want if you're Jeff Levy is I want to go somewhere I could be successful in year 2 like I was at Mississippi State year 1. And so, or year 2.
Right.
And that's going to be Florida. That's going to be Penn State. That's going to be FSU if it opens
LSU,
up. That's going to be LSU if it
Florida
opens
State.
up.
Yep.
Florida State. Yeah. There's any number of them, right, that you could go be successful right now. Now you're going to be down those lists a little bit, but you're on the list. And if they make it to you, you're out of there. But if they don't, and you got Arkansas and Mississippi and UCLA calling and Oklahoma State and those guys, I'm cool here because there's no expectations of Mississippi State.
Absolutely,
there's no expectations. He can go.
No, right? Yeah, they're measuring for a statue if they win this game,
for sure. So yeah, if you're Levy, the win here means that you really have a good shot to move up the list on the high major jobs you really want to be at.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we're agreeing there. All right. Well, we got to do, before we wrap this up, we have something very important to discuss.
Dollar bills, y'all. So,
and that is, how do we make some money for you or lose all your money?
So, as Delaney alluded to at the first of the show, we're doing a SEC home teams. They win about 70% of the time. So we start at $147 and we've been betting it all year. Every bit of that money on every home team, home game. One quick note. Last show I mentioned that when I made those bets, I made them in the state of Illinois and they charged 50 cents per bet in the state of Illinois. They don't do that here because I just made those bets last night and there was no 50 cents on there. You just bet regular. So
just a new change or something like that. So it's just a state of Illinois tax.
Yeah, it has to be a state of Illinois thing because it does location on your phone. It sees you're in Illinois, then it popped that stuff up there about 50 cents per bet. So anyway, so year to date we're 28-9, rolling in about 75.1% as far as winning percentage. So the math is mathing when it comes to that 75%.
Right
on. 8 games this weekend we could bet on. 8 all SEC home teams. Versus SEC teams. First time all year. All 16 teams are all playing at home against the other 8 teams that are on the road. First time all year. So 8 games.
Took till middle of October.
Yeah, right. And there's going to be more banger weekends. This one, you could make an argument, like we talked about, that
Yes,
this weekend's as big, if not bigger, than last weekend when it comes to games.
sure, hundred
You can
percent.
make that argument.
But it's just two
So,
games alone. The Tennessee, but yeah,
yeah. And of those, this is a day. Now, while this is a fun weekend for the regular college football fan, this is a dangerous weekend for us when it comes to home team betting.
yes,
4 home
right,
underdogs, 4 underdogs on the road. So the
mhm,
underdogs this week are Vandy, Arkansas, Kentucky, and Auburn. Well, the slate goes like this: we got Vandy over LSU, South Carolina over OU, Arkansas over A&M, UGA over Ole Miss, UF over Mississippi State, Kentucky over Texas, Bama over Tennessee, Auburn over Missouri. That's the whole slate, the whole 8 games. 4 of those are dogs: Vandy, Arkansas, UK, and
yeah,
Auburn. 4 away teams are dogs. So $21 a game. We come in at $168.11 in the bank. So $21 a game is 168 bucks. Leaves 11 cents left over. I didn't divide that up 8 times, just so you guys know.
no, that's okay.
Right. So we need a 5-3 to be at 62.5%. A 6-2 gets us at 75. So one of those two is probably what's going to wind up happening this weekend. Well, if you look at the home
Sure,
underdogs, Vandy, Arkansas, UK. Well, if we get a 6-2, 2 of those 4 have to win, and then everyone else wins out. I don't know what 2 would
right.
win. I think Vandy and Auburn is by far the 2 that you would point to win it,
That's yes,
right? Because I don't know
right.
Arkansas could score enough to beat
Otherwise, those
A&M,
are
and
pretty bleak.
yeah. So you need every home team
I don't see
favorite to
Kentucky
win.
smart enough to beat Texas.
No, I don't, and yeah, I don't
Hmm.
either. But it's like you said, for the home teams are favorites. So all 4 of those guys need to win. All of our favorites need to win. And then we need to split
Right,
the 4 underdogs to put us 6-2, 75% winning percentage. That puts us right in line. We'll make some money too, because 4 underdogs winning will make you some money, or 2 underdogs winning out of the 4. So 5-3 or 6-2 is what we need. We don't need 4-4. That's 50%. That's detrimental to the bank account, Delaney. We don't need that happening. That's
that's
not
going to
good.
empty us out.
Yep. So if all 4, the 4 favorites win, and then or all, however that breaks down, as far as 4 favorites win and 4 underdogs lose, all 4 underdogs lose, all 4 favorites win, we're 50%. That brings everything down. You're going to drop as far as bank account, especially because you don't make the money on the favorites like you do the underdogs. So, but
Right,
what have we
right.
said
Win a
over the
dollar or two.
last right over the last 5 years? 70% is the percentage. So the percentages say, and the math says, 5-3 or 6-2 is going to hit. That's 62.5 to 75%. So right in that neighborhood. That's
Yep.
probably what's going to
Right,
happen. So then you got to pick out 2 of those
right.
4. So Vandy and Auburn have great shots. Um, and then 3 of the 4 losing makes probably more sense, to be honest with you. Uh, you
Yeah,
know,
right.
So, 3 of them lose. The Vandy or everyone loses except for Vandy or Auburn, and they split. That puts you 5-3.
Hmm.
So, and assuming the favorites win. So, going to be a fun
Right.
one. Sunday should be
All
fun
right.
on here, or we may
Absolutely.
be very somber and very broke.
Right. Yeah, we may be well, a slate of good games to watch from hell, if you want to get settled in Friday night into your recliner and not really move much until, Chris said your eyes are starting to close slowly, and you're sitting there with a bourbon in your hand, and you wake up and take a drink, and then you fall back asleep for a little while. You ever heard anybody do that before? It's crazy, isn't it?
I hear tell, but it's like spotting Bigfoots and unicorns. You always hear about them, but you never
Right.
see them. So
Right. Yeah, and it didn't spill a drop. Just a
no, not a drop. That is,
professional.
yep, very talented.
While watching one of the more gruesome graphic shows I've ever
Yeah,
seen in my life, which
boy.
nothing bothers me, but like even this game, I'm like, good grief, that's just, I'm glad I didn't decide to watch it with my teenager, because
No,
that put me in child endangerment, I think, probably.
no, that show's not for teenagers. None of them, even the Dahmer one's not either.
Yeah.
I watched the Dahmer one too. It was like, oh
No.
boy, yeah, that you can't, no kids
Yep.
around when you watch those shows. Make sure it's just you
Mm-mm.
and your loved one,
No.
and that's just you guys. Make sure you're over the age of 18, probably even
Right,
over the age of
exactly. Yeah.
21. Let's just be honest.
So, yeah, exactly. You should be able to have to be 21 to buy cigarettes to be able to watch this show. I mean, it's if you don't know anything about Egeen, don't search it. Just go in blind and see what you think.
Yep.
I will say there's some creative license taken to some of this stuff, but a lot of was fairly accurate too. So do what you want with that. Two guys here, three guys actually, if you include the guy over your right shoulder who does enjoy to put a mask on his face from time to time, from Jim Pembry. Jim Pembry, damn it. Talk to him. This is Health We Know Podcast, and we don't skin people. We don't. We play the skins, you know. We're gonna win some money. We're gonna lose some money. We're gonna have fun talking about college football. That's not who we are. And there may or may not be a notorious serial killer that joins us from time to time. So this is Clarice. I'm Multiple Migs, and this is Health We Know Podcast. And we'll talk to you Sunday.
That's Hannibal Lecter, and we're going to have skin in the game. We're just not going to wear any of it.
Yes, exactly right. Yeah, no dancing, no tucking, nothing like that.
No,
right?
nothing like that. Nothing like that at all.
Have a good weekend, folks. Bye-bye.